The girl was stunned to realize that what had just hit her on the head was a solid gold bar. Before anyone around her could even react, more gold started raining down from the high-rise above. Passers-by quickly scrambled to snatch up the bars in a frenzy. Turns out, this bizarre incident all started with a magical pencil possessed by a divine force that had unknowingly attached itself to a young man's ordinary sketching pencil. Out of boredom, he had drawn a picture of a gold bar. His ex-girlfriend, however, mocked him, saying he was chasing some get-rich-quick fantasy. Without thinking, she tossed the sketch out the window. The next thing they knew, the gold bar he had drawn turned real and fell from the sky. But the young man had no idea his pencil had such power. Just then, a friend rushed over to tell him that someone was offering $1 million reward for a skilled artist, someone who could draw a lost Tibetan mastiff from memory. Before heading to meet the wealthy client, the young man ran into a poor mother and daughter outside the building. Feeling charitable, he handed the little girl $100 and asked if she liked reading. The girl replied with an old saying, "There's a house of gold in every book." Curious, the young man flipped through her book and casually sketched a gold ingot on one of the pages. As he got up to leave, the drawing suddenly transformed into a real gold ingot and fell to the ground behind him. The mother was stunned. Her first thought was that they had just met a god in disguise. Later, the young man finally arrived at the mansion of the Su family, the millionaires who had lost their prized Tibetan mastiff. While studying old photos of the dog, he became more intrigued by the gold locket the dog used to wear than the dog itself. So, while no one was watching, he secretly drew the locket. Just as he finished the sketch, the wealthy heiress and her butler walked in. The butler immediately blew up, accusing the young man of touching private property without permission and demanded he be thrown out. But when the heiress saw what he had drawn, the exact gold locket that had once hung from her dog's neck, she tore the drawing away from him and ordered the butler to toss it. The moment she did, the gold locket fell out of the sketch and landed right at their feet. Everyone froze in disbelief. Not only was it real, it was identical to the original, even down to a chipped corner the heiress instantly recognized. The butler, just as shocked, noticed that the locket in the drawing had completely vanished. Now thoroughly intrigued, the heiress ordered her staff to find the mysterious young man. Meanwhile, inside the estate, a crowd of elite artists had gathered for the upcoming sketching contest to win the $1 million prize. The butler, trying to identify the artist who had drawn the locket, looked around, but he hadn't gotten a good look at the young man earlier. Hearing this, a scheming contestant falsely pointed to the young man, assuming he'd gotten himself into trouble. But to his surprise, the butler didn't accuse him. Instead, he asked whether he had drawn the locket, adding that the heiress loved the sketch. Seeing the young man remain silent, the schemer rushed forward and claimed he was the one who had drawn it, but hadn't dared admit it earlier out of fear. The butler, suspicious but willing to test the claim, asked him to recreate the drawing. Left with no choice, the schemer sat down and attempted to draw the gold locket again. Soon after, the heiress returned to see the results herself. One glance was all it took. She could tell this was not the work of the same artist. Still, she whispered to the butler, "If the real artist doesn't want to reveal himself, don't force him. If he could draw the locket into reality, maybe he can do the same with the mastiff." Then she turned to the schemer with a smile and praised the drawing, saying it was just like the original. With that, she announced that the competition to sketch the lost Tibetan mastiff would now begin, and the winner would take home the $1 million